Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today we're going to be talking about 5G. 5G speed for our cell phones, mobile technology, and how that's going to impact the universe, us as human beings here on Earth. What does 5G really mean? And then I'm gonna first start it off by talking about Ma. Okay, so for those of you that have not seen this movie, you need to see it. If you're sensitive, you may not want to see this a movie. It is considered more like a horror movie, I guess, but it's definitely not suitable for young people. And when I say young people, I think like anyone that is like age 17 or younger. Maybe a 17-year-old could handle it, but there is some mature content in this movie, and what I mean by that is like rated R. And I wanted to talk about it because the theme about this movie, I'm not going to give you exactly like what it's about. I'm just going to kind of dance around it because I don't want to ruin it for those that have not seen it. But girl and guy, if you are listening to this, this movie is really has you on the edge of your seat, really hooked from the very beginning. Octavia Spencer is one of my favorite actresses, and I have to say that to me, she kind of like really has put herself out and really stands out and shines in this movie role. Now you have to understand this is a movie role, it's not real life, but she as an actress has really kind of solidified her ability and showing the people all around that she can do. She's done The Help, I believe, and she's done other movies as well, but like this is the first role that I've seen her in that is very different than from what I've known her to do. Again, I'm not a movie buff, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know all the movies that she's been in. But she is a darn good actress, and she really kind of was like, I feel like she kind of is like the new Kathy Bates, so to speak, in this movie role, And when I'm referring to Kathy Bates, I'm talking about like Kathy Bates' Misery, that movie. Even though they're totally different themes and plots and everything about the movies are different, but as far as the role of like the protagonist, I guess I don't know what you call that in the movie, the evil or the villain of the movie, that's kind of like what who Ma is in this movie. But the movie itself has a lot of powerful themes. One of them is about bullying. And so I encourage anyone that is an adult now that has gone through bullying at some point in their life to go and see this movie, because this movie is like, it talks about the theme of bullying and how people that have been bullied, some of us have healed and we've moved on, but some of us hold on to that shit forever, and it can cause you to do crazy things that you never thought you would when you are confronted with the people who bullied you. And that's kind of like all I'm going to give of the movie itself. But in that itself, that's kind of like the theme of it and who Ma is and how life has treated her. And so I feel like many people that have been bullied or have been, even if you weren't bullied as a child and you've gone through bullying even in the workplace, because this movie it shows the different facets of how a person can be bullied, not only in adulthood, not only in childhood, but in adulthood, and how cruel people can be, even as an adult towards you. So I definitely encourage you to see it. But if you are an empath or a sensitive, you may need to like not look at certain parts. You may need to like step out. But it's a really, really good movie. And kind of scary. It's there was pieces where I couldn't look. I couldn't look because I'm an empath myself, and it was a little overwhelming for me. But I wanted to talk about it because I don't do reviews on movies and whatnot. But being a person that was bullied myself, and I've healed from a lot of that, I still have memories of that. But I don't let it, justify. Not. I don't let it, take control of me and who I am as a person. I know I didn't deserve any of that bullying, and neither did any of you that have been victims of bullying, abuse, sexual abuse, mental or verbal abuse in your life. So yeah, I definitely suggest for you to kind of see this movie if you can before, if not when it comes out on DVD or pay-per-view, you can see it as well. But it's definitely Octavia, hands down. She is one of the best actresses out there right now, and I feel like this movie is definitely gonna kind of move her up and showing that she's versatile and she can do different types of movies, not just about historical things, or kind of more, just targeted to one demographic. This movie speaks on many levels. And for those of us that are African American, I definitely encourage that, because this movie also has a theme about racism and how prevalent it is today. And, or if you're biracial, how prevalent it is today. And you'll see it in different aspects. So I recommend for those of you that have ever, been a victim of prejudice, or people that are racially, profiling or racially biased, etc., to see this movie. If you've ever encountered someone that's racist, you definitely will see this movie, and it'll open your eyes to many things, even though it's meant to be scary, and based on a story. Yeah, it's very much, it's the themes in it that it contains can apply to everyday situations in your life. So that isn't a gist about Ma. And I wasn't going to see this movie. I hesitated because when I went on my birthday, I actually had gone to San Antonio, and I went to one of the movie theaters, and I saw The Intruder, which is another good movie to see. And at the time, I saw this as a preview coming out on May 31st, but I was like debating, will I want to see it when I go back to my hometown? Do I want to go and see it? And finally today I just saw, I went through the Cinemark and kind of was like, I want to go see that. So I definitely am glad I went to go and see it. And it shows, like I said, it reveals the sadder part and the darker parts of someone that has been through trauma, and how it can stay with that person and really, really make them do things that they never thought they would do. So that being said, now I'm going to go ahead and get into the 5G. But before I do, if you have seen Ma, I want to know what, in the comment sections below. Go ahead and talk about, what you've thought about the movie. Try not to ruin it for others that may not have seen it, but just let me know what you think about it. One of the things that I am still trying to figure out in the movie is about Ma's child and who is the father. It makes you think, because you never see who the father of her child is. So let me know in the comment sections below if y'all have an idea of who it is, etc. Now, 5G. This is another thing that I've seen a lot of posts surfacing on Instagram, comments on my videos, people wanting to know about 5G. How is that? Because there's a lot of people that are petitioning and kind of against 5G. Why? Because, again, these are our electromagnetic waves. These are radio waves that are very powerful, technology that is very powerful, that is going to be used as a network for phones going forward. I don't know if it's going to be like for the iPhone 10 or any models going forward, or the Samsung Galaxy 10. I don't know what. I'm not a Samsung phone user, so I don't know. But I would say like any of the newer models that are coming out by any of the carriers and any of these manufacturers are going to be including this technology. For the most part, so I used to work with Sprint, and we were using a CDMA, which is like a platform. I forget the terminology of what it stands for, but it was at the time it was 4G and 3G and 4G, and it was CDMA was the platform of it, and then it went into LTE, which is what we currently have now, which is what I have now. when I'm out, out and about. I'm using LTE, which is the speed. It's supposed to be a faster speed for data, anything data, related. And 5G is the next level. But why are a lot of people freaking out about this? Because there is a lot of belief that this is going to be a little bit less. It's going to have little. You're going to have less privacy, and there's a lot of beliefs that these waves that are being emitted are going to change our climate. It's also going to, we don't know because it's never been tested. Well, really and truly, like, none of these 4Gs, or LTEs have been really tested for years. So we don't know, like, what effects that's going to have on the human body when you put up a cell phone already to your ear and it's connecting to radio waves. You don't see these waves, but they are coming and they're being emitted from towers, and towers are sending that signal to satellites, and satellites on outer space are sending it to the towers, and the towers are emitting those frequencies to your cell phones. And if you have a cell phone that you hold to your ear or you have in your pocket, even if the data is not being used, that radio, it's still transmitting radio waves. And so there's a lot of people who are scared of the impacts that this is going to have on the in the world, in the ecosystem, and humanity and human body, because this is a very high speed internet. I really feel like there is some danger with this. I don't feel that with, like, I never felt that before, but I really feel like there are some dangers with 5G, and there's no way to kind of like opt out of it unless you have an older phone. You see, what these carriers have kind of partnered up with this network that is transmitting the 5G, is the fact that what they do is that these and I'm telling you because I used to work with Sprint and Nextel, so I know a lot about this. What happens is that with the new technology, your phones that are older models are become obsolete and they're phased out. So older phones that you have that you still use, like an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 7, those may be incompatible and not able to receive the 5G signal, and therefore may not be able to operate and make phone calls and reach towers. You may have a lot of calls being dropped, especially if you live in an area that may not have 5G coverage. But this is all fiber optic. It's all transmitted through radio waves into your cell phones. These waves can cause cancer in many ways. It can affect everybody. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to cause everyone cancer or create a fear-based type of video based on what I know from cell phones and technology, but everybody's body responds differently, and there are some people that are more sensitive to these models, to this new technology. Now, things that you can do to protect yourself. There are some. My friend Jennifer had told me that there is something that you can put in your phone that is kind of like blocks EMF or the electromagnetic frequencies in your cell phone. You can put it in there somewhere, like in the battery, I believe, and it can like stop that. You can also have orgonite. If you can wear or buy an orgonite pendant or have some orgonite pyramids in your home, that can even help with any kind of technology that you have right now in your home. So there's different ways of protecting yourself from these strong radio waves, these frequencies that are being disseminated. And eventually, LTE is going to be phased out. LTE, again, is for those of you that may not be tech savvy. This is the operating system for data that our phones utilize to transmit, and the speed that it transmits the data. So, like, if I'm on my phone and I'm not in an LTE area, it's going to go to 4G, and sometimes 3G is going to be the network that I'm on. In 3G, I may not be able to view data on my phone. I may not be able to receive an email. I may be able to still make calls and receive calls, but it may be very spotty. There may be a lot of static in that area that there is not LTE. So once 5G gets rolled out, then we may not have coverage with LTE, or those that people, the people that have LTE devices that are able to handle LTE may be able to handle 5G. But the way that I see this is that ever so often, ever so many years, they upgrade these speed networks on a global scale. And what it does is that it phases out new phones. And the carriers, for the most part, all these major carriers, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, they all love this, because this means eventually that more people are going to upgrade. They're going to need to upgrade to new phones. But for people who are more like the baby boomers, or people that are not very tech savvy, or have never worked in a phone center, or with technology, they're going to find this a little bit. It's going to be fun to have something that really is fast speed, but the question is at what cost, and what are going to be the repercussions from having a 5G speed. So there's a lot of things that you can do to educate yourself now, again, because these are going to be 5G the towers that emit these radio waves are going to be operating on a 5G. So it means they're going to be sending out even faster frequencies to your devices that run on a 5G speed, or 5G capable, or 5G enabled devices. And so that is what is coming out. That's like the new wave of technology. Eventually, I really feel, and what I see from a psychic insight, is that cell phones are going to become obsolete. Eventually, you'll have a cell phone, but it will not be like what we have today. It may be just a smaller thing, and it just projects out, or there's going to be just a different design that comes out that's very different and smaller, because it seems like things just keep getting smaller, smaller, and smaller in technology, and it's crazy while things get faster. But also, there's a risk for privacy, and with every new technology, there's going to be glitches. Things are not going to be working. So be very mindful. I feel like this 5G is going to also have a lot more tracking from the government, from, these entities are going to be able, these organizations with these carriers are going to be able to collect a lot more data. As you see now, like if you use your cell phone and you go shopping online for, let's say, a new pair of shoes, you're going to see that ad for that same pair of shoes that you just bought 15 minutes later on Instagram as you're scrolling as an ad, or you're going to see it in Facebook. They are watching us. They're watching every single move. Nothing that we do on the web or online is private. Even though you may think it's private, it's not private. So again, that's the fears that a lot of people have regarding their privacy as well, not just the health effects and the environmental effects, because animals, birds, the sea animals, whales, fish, all of this are being hit. Every living organism is being hit with this microwaves, these radio waves that are being hit, disseminated and being sent out across the entire land, the entire world. So again, we don't know the effects of what it's going to do. So people, it could, you never know what a human mind or human body, how it's going to react to something like that. Some people, there may be an influx in certain areas where the environment and circumstances are good, and this could actually cause people to start acting really weird, or mentally not be stable, and cause them to carry out criminal acts, or hurt themselves in some kind of way. This is like what I've talked about yesterday about mind control and programming. 5G is the next wave of it, and for the the people that are science techs or science gurus or phone gurus, I'm sure they're going to come at me. I'm not talking bad about 5G. I'm excited about 5G, but at the same time, I understand and I can see the concern that everybody has about the technology and what it's going to do to the earth, as we go into a 5G. In a couple of years, it will probably be a 6G or 7G, or maybe even a entirely different type of interface, network type of thing. So again, just be vigilant, and you're not alone. There's going to be forums, people that that are already using, because there are people that are already testing. What you don't realize is that before they roll out all of this on a commercial level, to all merchants, to all merchants and to all of the clients that may have services through these mobile providers. There's a select group of people that are working at Verizon, that are working at AT&T, that are working in the government, that have already access to the 5G phones, 5G technology, and they already are testing that on their own phones. So a lot of this is tested by certain people, select group. And I know I said earlier that it's not been tested. What I meant by that is to kind of backtrack. I meant that it's not being tested by a lot of people, like millions of people all around the world. It's only a select few people in every place that has access to the 5G and is already working on developing their phones around that. So again, not only are we have to worry what's going to be in the environment being emitted to us, but these new devices that are going to be rolled out with 5G technology, what does that mean for us? And will these phones, because some phones, I know that when they first rolled out with LTE, they would burn up in people's pockets, they would explode. Some of these phones were like overheating, and some people would say, well, this will chalk that up to a manufacturer defect. But you have to kind of ask yourself, was it a manufacturer defect or was it part of this technology? So that is all that I wanted to discuss today. Also comment in the comment sections below and let me know, what are your thoughts on 5G, and are you excited about it? Are you kind of afraid about it? Are you against it completely? So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Psychic Medium Ray. And be sure to book a private psychic reading if you like one at www.raymondguzman.net /shop. And don't forget to listen tomorrow and tune in at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 12 p.m. Pacific Time to the Ray and Seth show. I'm going to be partnering up with my friend and colleague Seth Browder, international psychic medium as well, and we are going to be doing an Instagram live tomorrow. And again, it's going to be at 2 p.m. and it will be recorded and eventually put on YouTube for those of you that miss it. But we would really love to have you on there. And then on Sunday at the same time at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, I'm going to be doing an interview with Ted Huff. This is the gentleman that interviewed me, my first official interview on the Ted Huff show. And so now I have come full circle and I'm interviewing him. We're going to be talking about spirituality as well. We're going to be talking about, he's a businessman, how, to become successful, if you're wanting to start up a new business or a small business, what does it take from his perspective to make it and not give up? So I have a lot of different interviews that are coming up. Very, very excited. And then on the 16th, I believe, of June, which is the following week on a Sunday, I have another interview, a soul chat with Ray. And, well, not with me. It's not a soul chat with me. It's with my friend, William Weston, and he is a naturopathic doctor, and he is in Canada, based out of Canada, and we're going to be talking about naturopathic medicine and spirituality. And so we're going to be talking about things like Dr. Sebi, and then also eventually, like later this month, I'm hoping, again, I wanted to announce that I'm going to be bringing on Hollywood actress and model Melanie Martin. She's the girl that was in T.I.'s video that was very universal, very controversial. And so she is working on a docu-series about fighting cancer and the cures for cancer that are out there, and all the research that she's done. We're going to be talking about that and spirituality for her, what it means for her, and what projects she's working on, etc. If she can, whatever she's allowed to talk about. So a lot of different shows and interviews and a lot of exciting information. Thank you again so much for all of you for being here, and blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world.